The moment my heart stopped, the universe held its breath. A sharp pain tore through my chest, stealing the air from my lungs and rooting me in an unbearable stillness. The world around me began to blur, the fluorescent lights overhead dissolving into a blinding white. The faint hum of the room's machines turned into a cacophony of frantic beeping, each sound a desperate plea to pull me back from the edge. My pulse weakened, fading like the final notes of a dying symphony. Everything I had ever known began to slip away, and an eerie calm enveloped me as I fell into an abyss from which I knew there was no return. I wasn't always a titan of Wall Street. I was born to modest beginnings, the son of a factory worker whose hands were hardened by years of labor. My father's words echoed in my mind often during my youth. Andrew, success isn't handed to you. You take it, piece by piece. Those words became my creed. I worked relentlessly, pouring everything into my education and then into the high-stakes world of finance. By the time I was 30, I was managing portfolios worth billions. By 40, I was dismantling empires with a single trade. My name commanded respect, and my decisions reverberated across global markets. The rush of power was intoxicating. Success wasn't just what I did. It became who I was. Yet, beneath the surface of my carefully constructed empire, there was always a gnawing emptiness, a void I tried to ignore by acquiring more, achieving more, controlling more. It was an ordinary day when it all unraveled. I was seated at the head of a long, polished conference table, surrounded by analysts and advisors. The markets were volatile, the kind of environment in which I thrived. As I laid out strategies with my usual precision, a sharp pain shot through my chest, unlike anything I'd ever felt. It wasn't the kind of discomfort you brush off. It was an unforgiving weight that pinned me to the spot. My vision blurred, the room spinning as voices around me became distant echoes. I clutched at my chest, gasping for air, but the world was slipping away. My body collapsed, and the last sounds I heard were panicked shouts and the distant wail of an ambulance siren. I awoke to darkness, not the kind that comes with the absence of light, but a vast, infinite void that felt alive, as though it were breathing. I was suspended in it, weightless and untethered. At first, there was fear, a primal panic that surged through me as I grappled with the reality of my existence. Then, a presence emerged. It was unlike anything I could describe, luminous and profound, a being who carried an unfathomable sense of peace and authority. I knew, without needing to be told, that it was Jesus. In his presence, I felt everything. A boundless love that seemed to encompass every fiber of my being, and yet I couldn't hide. I couldn't shield the parts of myself I had long buried, the compromises I had justified, the lives I had affected in my relentless pursuit of success. He didn't need to speak for me to know that every decision I'd made, every moment I'd valued profit over people, was laid bare before him. The weight of it was unbearable, not because he condemned me, but because he understood me. His eyes held no judgment, only truth, and it was this truth that pierced me to my core. Suddenly, I was shown the lives I had touched. They weren't numbers on a spreadsheet or faceless statistics, they were real people. I saw the factory worker whose job was eliminated because of a merger I orchestrated. The single mother who struggled to keep food on the table because of layoffs I had deemed necessary for efficiency. Their pain was no longer abstract. I felt it as if it were my own. Yet, intertwined with these moments of harm were glimpses of what could have been. The dreams I could have nurtured, the potential I could have uplifted. It was not an accusation, but an invitation to see my life as it truly was. Jesus spoke, his voice both gentle and commanding, resonating not just in my ears but in my soul. Andrew, your wealth is not your sin. Your heart's relationship with it is. The words reverberated through me, dismantling the walls I had built around my heart. He showed me what wealth could be, not a tool for control or self-gratification, but a force for healing, for restoration, for connection. Wealth can heal or destroy, he said. The choice is yours. In that moment, I felt the weight of hell, not as a fiery pit, but as a separation from this presence, from love itself. It was a void, an eternal loneliness that I knew I could not bear. But just as quickly as the fear engulfed me, it was replaced by grace, a grace so profound that it shattered every illusion I had about power, success, and control. When I returned to consciousness, it was like breaking the surface of a deep, dark ocean, gasping for air. The hum of machines brought me back to the sterile reality of the hospital room, but I was not the same man who had fallen to the floor in that conference room. Something fundamental within me had shifted. The Andrew Constantine who lived for power and profit had died, and in his place was someone reborn, carrying the weight of a revelation that demanded action. The transformation wasn't immediate or easy. I began by examining every corner of my empire, dismantling the parts that exploited others, redirecting resources to initiatives that uplifted and empowered. I liquidated investments that harmed communities and used the proceeds to fund educational programs in underserved areas. I created financial literacy initiatives that didn't just teach people about money, but restored their sense of dignity and agency. Each decision was a step toward redemption, a way of aligning my actions with the grace I had been shown. 1 Timothy 6:17-19 became my guiding light. Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. These words were no longer abstract scripture. They were a mandate, a call to action that I carried with me every day. Wealth, I realized, is energy. It is neither inherently good nor evil, but becomes a reflection of the heart that wields it. My heart, once consumed by greed and ambition, was now committed to healing and restoration. Each investment became an opportunity to mend what had been broken, to bridge the chasm between what is and what could be. Success was no longer defined by numbers, but by the lives I could touch, the hope I could inspire, the love I could share. I share this story not for praise, but as an invitation to see beyond the illusions of success and control, to understand that true wealth is not found in accumulation, but in transformation. It is a call to look inward, to examine the legacy we are building, and to ask ourselves, what will we do with the life, the influence, the gifts we have been given? I ask you now, not as the Andrew Constantine of Wall Street, but as someone who has stood on the precipice of eternity. What does true wealth mean to you? And how will you use it to leave the world better than you found it?